It leaves a permanent hole that you never can fill.
Relatives of Evan Harlow are struggling to understand why the 16-year-old is dead, shot last night by a Louisville Metro police officer.
Because there's just no reason a 16-year-old should have been gunned down.
Evan's Aunt Michelle says the teen had some trouble in his past, but was working to get back on track.
He got in a little bit of trouble and did a few things, and he served, I think, 2 weekends down at the juvenile detention center. But he went through all his counseling and all his classes that he was supposed to go through, and he was turning himself around.
Evan used to attend Frencreek High School, but most recently was a student at Liberty High School for students with attendance and discipline problems.
Good student, A.B. student. You know, he went through his rough period, but he got back on track.
Michelle says the family is anxiously waiting for an explanation of what happened from police after getting a call this morning from the coroner's office.
They called and said that they were in the middle of the autopsy. They were not done, and there was already several shots to the chest on Evan.
What does that tell you?
It tells me that he was gunned down and without a prayer. The officer should have used his little taser gun or shot him in the legs. Why did he have to shoot him down through the chest? I don't understand it.
Michelle Harlow says at the time all this happened, Monday night, 16-year-old Evan Harlow was shot and killed in the woods right back there. One is the story of a teenager who was troubled but trying to get back on track. The other is a tale of a teenager who was mixed up with gangs and, according to some, nothing but trouble. A picture of Evan Harlow hangs from the yellow crime tape with a handwritten note which says, R.I.P. little bro, I miss you already. Evan's family tells us the teen, who was a good boy, had been shot 5 times, including once in the neck. But many others in this neighborhood tell us they are afraid to say anything publicly about Harlow, fearing retaliation from what they say is a gang called Dem Dope Boys, which they say has left its mark on the area like this graffiti. Louisville Metro Police say they are still investigating that aspect of the case, but they can confirm that Harlow was armed with a stolen handgun when he was fatally shot by Officer Tom Hodgkins. One resident tells me the gun Harlow had was stolen from a home in this neighborhood. Another man that lives in this area showed me a gun that he says he keeps close by for protection. He says the group or gang that Evan Harlow hung around with had some people in this area living in fear. He also pointed to 3 houses, that one back there, one over there across the street, and that one right over there, all of which had been recently.
He is still on active duty, and as we said, 16-year-old Evan Harlow died of multiple gunshot wounds according to the coroner's office last night. Now, the Metro Police Department says he did have a handgun with him, though they haven't said as of yet whether he fired that weapon at police or even pointed it at police. We're still waiting for further details about that. Now, one neighbor told us this afternoon he was next door and called 911 and actually saw these 2 people coming through the area about 20 minutes beforehand, and then came back a second time to try and enter this home on Ferndale Road and take some of the things out and burglarize it. Now, they said they were there, and they ended up going through the woods of this area around Ferndale Drive, running for about a half an hour, and then ending around the 5900 block of Hurstbourne Parkway. That is where the chase ended last evening, where police ended up shooting 16-year-old Evan Harlow. Now, police are also telling us right now are not releasing any other details. We hope to have more for you. We also hope to have more sound from the neighbors and their reaction to this coming up at 12:30. Reporting live downtown, Sean Bartel, WHAS 11 News.
Charged with shooting and killing another teenager over the weekend made his first court appearance today. Troy Cole is charged with murder and tampering with evidence in the shooting death of 15-year-old Jordan Adams. Cole's bond was set at $1 million. Now, Cole claims he shot the teen because Adams was trying to rob him at gunpoint early Sunday morning. Well, as we said, Jordan Adams was just 15 years old, a tragic and sad ending to a young man who had faced trouble before. There was an effort underway to help get him off the streets and his life back on track. But as WHAS 11's Joe Arnold reports, for this particular teen, it came too late.
Jordan Adams was a high school dropout who ran away from home about 2 months ago. But his family was trying to pull him back, and he was scheduled to set up a life plan with a counselor from Operation Hope here at the Boys and Girls Club on Saturday afternoon. But he didn't show up, and by Sunday morning, he was dead.
He basically indicated he was ready to kind of change things around, and he felt like he didn't have any kind of firm firm footing.
I met with Operation Hope's Eddie Woods today in the parking lot where he waited for Jordan Adams on Saturday. Jordan, one of 81 young men involved in that program, which is geared toward getting young men off the streets.
We had all of the pieces were pretty much in place. We had community-based services. His family was pretty much tuned in. They knew. They seemed to me to feel like they had a limited amount of time, like they were on the clock.
The clock stopped for Jordan Adams 5 months shy of his 16th birthday. He is the second Operation Hope teenager to be shot to death. The first, Daryl Head, was murdered in October. And Wood says about a dozen more have been shot and wounded. 12 others are now behind bars. But 4 are entering college this fall, so there is hope.
So we got to identify the conditions and address the conditions.
You mean like living conditions? You mean
living conditions, lifestyle.
17-year-old Daryl Head says that her son never mentioned anything about being a part of the Bad News gang. She issued a statement. She did not want to be interviewed on camera. She says that young people need to stop imitating the gang lifestyle, and it says that young people should not take revenge against her son's killer. While Daryl Head's mother was too saddened to speak out publicly today, Daryl's little brother had plenty to say about the person that he called his role model.
He's like a security guard does. He was worried about us before himself. We don't know our brother as no personal bad news out, whatever.
Kevin Head says the night that Daryl was shot in this car, Daryl told him that he was going to get a new cell phone.
You can be here in the hour, and the next hour you can be gone. Because I just seen my brother in 30 minutes, he was gone.
He says his brother's shooting was a scenario that you've heard before. Wrong place, wrong time.
We know him as this, to live life. It's my brother. No, we don't got no brother, because he's gone. But I know one thing, my brother's not no bad person.
Daryl Head's cousin says that he never walked into a room or left a room without a smile.
Every time he come to my head, I just see him smiling and laughing. He was always a positive person, very athletic. He loved basketball. And most of all, he just loved hanging with his friends.
Daryl Head's mother is holding a remembrance vigil for her son this weekend at the same place where they believe that he was gunned down near Victory Park. She is encouraging young people to come down there so they can talk about gangs before problems result in